Now we're into a realm that goes far beyond that, and that's what we're doing with Sizzle right now in our On the Road to Immortality mission that we're doing. So there's some basic things, and I'm going to essentially talk about 3 components that can put you far down that road and keep you going for a time where we now have the potential, since they mapped the human genome, to live to be about 150 years. So if we die in our 70s or 80s, we've not died of old age, we've died at middle age. But nobody dies of middle age. We die because of degeneration and decay that has set in. So let's take this parameter and look back on it and say, what age are you? If you're 40, you've probably lost close to 50% of your stem cell activity. Your stem cells are it's like the chicken that lays the eggs in your body. You have 200 and some groups of stem cells, and they create everything because the rest of your cells are expendable. They have a lifetime, and then they're gone. Like in the stomach, they last, 6-8 days, and those cells are gone because of the harsh environment they're in. In the heart, they can last 3 years, but they're still replaced. But here's where the aging comes in. If you replace less than are being lost to decay and degeneration because of many factors, the aging process, if you will, then you're going to lose body mass, you're going to lose functionality, you're going to shorten your life. So if we can turn around and take something like that and put it just opposite, and let's not fight the fight, let's get rid of the toxins the best we can, but understand many of them are going to enter our bodies, and the simple process of breathing creates lots of oxidative damage because it has to split oxygen, and it's just like gasoline in your car. It goes in, it puts oxygen with it, a spark hits it, it splits the oxygen, creates the energy. That's the exact same mechanism that's going on in all of your cells, whether it be the replacement cells or the stem cells. And so that glucose is the gasoline of the cells, but there's a spark, there's an igniter, a spark that does that, and then you have oxygen to release that energy. That's the way it works. So I wanted to explain that to you so you have a better comprehension of these. They're intricate, but you don't need to know all of this. You need to know the benefits rather than necessarily the features of any product that you're selling. So sell benefits, not features. Don't become a little Tom and try to duplicate everything that I know and do. Mine is to support these products, but to put it to you in the most powerful forms possible and a user-friendly way for you to understand and to use it and to take it and market it and develop your business so you can achieve health, wealth, and happiness. So with that, anytime you oxidize the glucose in the cells, it forms a plaque. That plaque coats, it's like plaque on your teeth. Same principle. As bacteria break down sugars in your mouth, and they create an acid which etches your teeth, of course, but the plaque comes from that oxidized sugar that accumulates on your teeth. So you know how bad that is on your teeth. You can feel it every day, and unless you're using our products. But that's how it works within the cell too. So that's called glycation. And it's because glucose that is oxidized, so that's where they get the word glycation. And as it starts plaquing the internal protein surfaces of your stem cells, then they start getting gummed up like molasses. And as it eventually it caramelizes and gets hard, and these functions that are these structures, the organella within the stem cell, are now plaqued up and hardened, or it's very sticky and resistant, so they can't function the way they should. So in the age pill, we call it AGE, and age pill, which is advanced glycation endo products. That's what it stands for. Not that it makes so much difference, but you know. And so with that, the first rule of medicine is do no harm. Okay, so let's take a look at the stem cell. There's a lot of harm that's done from oxidation, so glucose, glycation. So we have found the ingredients that can penetrate into the cell, and this is where the FDA issues come in. We have to say it's a precursor, it's support, and it is. It supports the body's natural mechanisms to fight these things. The body is trying to remove glycation. It does it fairly good when you're younger, but as you get older, the decay and the degeneration is such that it can't keep up, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And pretty soon, you've got serious health problems because the function, the features are there, but they're all gummed up. So we can support the body systems that remove glycation, and the results can potentially be tremendous. Now, remember, I said supports. If I say stimulates, it's a drug. If I say supports, it supports the body's natural mechanisms. So there are legal ways to say things, and support is one of the important ones. The second thing that happens within a stem cell is it takes in nutrients to build all the components of it, and in doing so, it has a fast system of doing all of that. So a stem cell has to duplicate itself. So that's a great deal of nutrients that are taken in, and the new cell that's produced is the exact replica of the stem cell, except the chromosomes do not have telomeres on them. Telomeres are only found in stem cells, and they're the ones that regulate your anti-aging or life extension calendar, if you will, on it. So anyway, with this tremendous amount of nutrition, and stem cells are spewing them out by the thousands or tens of thousands, you can imagine how much nutrition comes into a stem cell. And as a consequence, it's like anything else. There's a certain amount of waste. The body has ways of removing it, but over a period of time with degeneration and things like that, this cellular garbage builds up. It's called glycation, and it fills the cells up with this gooey, thick sludge that is inhibiting the flow of nutrients, oxygen, getting rid of the waste, and you start accumulating a lot of toxic waste, especially toxic heavy metals. This process is this condition is called lipofuscin, and so lipo means fat soluble, and what that is maybe the oil soluble or fat soluble components of metabolism that's taking place in the cell start to gum together. And when they start coming together, then the clump gets bigger and bigger. And think of it like the drain in your sink. Okay, you can drain water out because it's small enough to go, but if you have some large particles that are going down it, like pieces of carrots, stuff like that, it won't get through because the orifice isn't long enough or large enough, and that's what happens inside the cell. These large particles of fat-soluble lipofuscin start accumulating, and they get bigger and bigger, and the system has a way of breaking them down, but it is so ineffective, especially with aging, that soon the clear color of a cell becomes a dark brown, and the cell even shrivels up, and the nucleus shrivels up, even like you would wad up a piece of paper. And that's the kind of effect it has. But the body has the system to work on it, so what we do is we have a series of ingredients that are in our formulations that supports those cells' processes to remove lipofuscin. So now if glycation's gone, lipofuscin's gone, what is left? Well, what is left is the mechanisms that have been oxidized, broken down, corroded from free radicals, and oxidation is a free radical, as it will. The average cell takes about 600,000 oxidative hits a day. So you can imagine there's a lot of things to counteract that, but not enough as it gets older, so the damage is tremendous. But a new discovery was made, and in that they found that if you could increase the amount of NAD in the cell, then it could do mutagenic repair. In addition to that, it could create lots of energy where your energy is going down. So we looked at this, and there are precursors to the body or to the cell for creating NAD plus. The plus stands for a hydrogen molecule, and that's what the energy comes from. Of course, just as hydrogen comes from the sun and plants take it in and animals there, that ends up in your cell. And in the final stages of what they call a Krebs cycle, where this ends up releasing that hydrogen, then you create the energy. And when it releases hydrogen, in science they call it biological hydrogen, which is converted to electrical energy. And you have a optimal amount of it in your cell that you need, and it's called homeostasis. And so when you get less, it's like having a light bulb on a rheostat, and as you turn it down, it becomes more dim. That's what happens within the aging process. You're not getting as much of the electrical energy through. And now, if you remove the glycation lipofusion, or support the body's ability to do it, and then you support with precursors to make large copious amounts of NAD+, you're going to do the second phase. You've ended decay, and you are now going to support regeneration with this. And out of that, you can take deteriorating stem cells and you can turn them back into where science is showing if the NAD levels are high enough and you can remove these other things, they could return to where they were when they were younger. So if you're 40 and you lost 50% of your stem cell activity, that which is still functioning is deteriorating. It's like going down a slippery slide. It's happening faster and faster and faster, but you can now stop that, or you have the potential to support stopping that. And so as a result, you can now take that decline, and with ending decay and supporting the increase of regeneration, now you start making more cells than you're losing. So what's happened to you? Well, what happened to you is aging, is decay, degeneration. And so as that happens, your systems wear out, they don't function so well, and you don't have enough cells being produced to keep up with those being lost. And so you start losing functionality in your brain, in your eyes, within your muscles. Muscles shrink, skeletal systems go down, all of those kinds of things, because the regeneration is exceeded by the degeneration. So let's flip it right on its head. And with the age pill, we come in and give massive support to that. Now, our products have not been tested to do this. The ingredients in them have, and you do have the right to know about those things. There's a law called the DSHEA, Dietary Supplemental Health Education Act, and it allows us legally to tell you about ingredients and what they can do and what they support. And so our systems now is taking the very most advanced science. Some of these, and I can't mention the big universities because they've actually come after us because we've mentioned what they have discovered and what they're going to try and bring out as a prescription drug 15, 20 years from now, and we have it right now, those ingredients that can do it and do it actually even better, because we're not just taking the discovery from one university or one clinical research center, we're taking it from many and we're putting them together. And I thank God that He's given me the ability to understand these things and put them together so I can do them for you, so you can have these products for building your health and also your prosperity and happiness with it. So with that, we have now got a complement of ingredients. We come at producing NAD, supporting it, 4 different ways. There are places, companies that put out, the common one now is called NR, and it's niacinamide riboside. Okay, well, niacinamide riboside is a patented molecule because they put a blueberry component with it called stilbene that bonds them together. But the problem with that is that when it goes through the digestive system, you may lose 50% of what you're taking in. And then when it goes in the system, NR is converted into niacinamide ribose. Ribose is the energy component of it, and niacinamide has the energetics for it. So if you take an NR supplement, then it becomes NAM. And so the NAM is the niacinamide ribose, which is what niacinamide riboside, I hope I'm not confusing you, is converted to within the cell. So we bypass that because of the inefficiency, and because these are patented, they're charging horrendous prices, and you need certain levels to get effect. And you see the supplements out there, they're 100 to 250 milligrams. That's woefully inadequate, and if you lose half of it, what is it is? And the studies show that you need about 1,000 milligrams of that within the body to be effective in producing optimal levels of homeostasis within the cells for NAD, for energy production, to turn up the light of your cells so everything is working correctly, so all of these functions can take place. So with doing that, we have put in niacinamide ribose, but we have 3 other systems with it too, because if you look, and you won't, but don't, but if you look at the stem cell and all of the different mechanisms that is directed towards producing NAD, the ingredient that can repair mutagenic damage, that can support the regeneration and growth of organella, of tissues, of all of these things that have deteriorated, there are 4 approaches to it. We cover all 4 with the age pill. Now down the road, and we're working on this very quickly as we can. It's quite a tedious process and very expensive one, but we're working on getting a way to deliver pure NAD plus to the cells. It's so reactive, it's destroyed in the gut and in the processing, but I think I found the way to do that. We'll find out. We'll do some lab tests and things like that, but I think I found the way to do it, because what I found is not what I have created. It is taking what other people have found and discovered and then turning it into practical applications for the products. It's just like Edison, the greatest inventor of all time. He had over 1,000 patents. He said, only 2 of them did I think of myself. One was the light bulb, but he said, only 2 of those did I think of myself. The rest of them, all was information I learned from other people who didn't realize what they have or didn't take it far enough, and I could see it, and therefore I developed those into products. So the great genius he was in developing other people's discoveries too. That's where his fame really comes from. Well, we have the same philosophy going on here. So now we've talked about the stem cell.